How's it going, everybody? Or anybody who's watching. This is my 1996 Corvette. Now I want to take a minute to talk about this one in specific. I've covered some of my other cars in the past. Some I still have, some I don't. I do have another 96 Corvette currently. It's an LT4 collector's edition, but that's a different car. I'll touch base in comparison on that one a little bit, but today we're going to talk about this car. Now, this car is as special, or maybe more so, than the collector's edition. This is another 96. This is an LT4 car, all manuals in 96 LT4 cars. I'll touch on a few of those minor specifics in a minute that separate the LT4 from the LT1s of 92 to 96. This car specifically is a Z51 handling package equipped car. This is a two-owner car. It's got 65,000 original miles on it. It's been very well kept. The second owner had the vehicle from 1997, I believe around June 18th, until July of 2021. So quite a long stint of ownership. Nice guy. Took real good care of it. Replaced it with a C6 in 2009 and an automatic. Didn't really want the manual again, but he couldn't get himself to sell this car for quite a long time. He enjoyed the manual and the power of the LT4. So, given the rough breakdown on these LT4 cars, again, a lot different than the LT1. The LT4 had a unique a head design, a bigger intake port, larger valves. It also had roller rockers. I believe they're modified crane roller rockers. They might have been comp, I can't remember now off the top of my head. Different intake manifold, and it wasn't just a powder coat difference. It had a different height for the different ports in these heads. Different injectors. This had 28 pound versus 24 in the LT4, or sorry, in the LT1. So just to supply a little more fuel for the power. Had a different crankshaft cut. It was chamfered and relieved for high RPM sustained use. Handful of just old school hot rod goodies, and this was the end of the line for the original small block. This is considered a Gen 2 small block Chevy because it's the LT platform. So that equated to a compression ratio of 10.8 to 1 versus 10.4 in the LT1 car. So 330 horse, 340 torque. Like I mentioned in the other video, some say it's underrated, some say it's not. And what I can say about that is my other LT4 car, my collector's edition, that car has long tube headers, 410 gears, an X-pipe, and custom PCM tuning. Only modifications. That car traps over 109 1/4 mile at 3,425 pounds. So that being said, that back figures to 347 rear wheel horsepower, which is 405 at the crank. Now I know it's got a few modifications, and these things really come alive with long tubes. This car here, this is a bone stock car, with the exception of an SLP intake. It's a nice unit. It's 304 stainless steel, and I'll show it to you when we get into the hood. So this car also is a Z51 car. Now, they made a total of 6,359 LT4s. 1,000 of those were Grand Sports. 2,009 of those were collector's editions. 1,540 hardtops, 469 convertibles, and 3,350 base LT4 cars. I don't have the breakdown hardtop to convertible, but 3,350 of the LT4 standard Corvette. Now, out of all Corvettes produced for 96, they made 1,869 Z51 cars. So the number of Z51 LT4 cars, I'm not sure. But the Z51 package gave this 9.5-inch wheels all the way around, rather than 8.5s and 9.5s, as well as 275 4017s front and rear for a square setup, obviously for handling, versus the 255 285 setup that a regular Corvette would have had. And then, of course, the Grand Sport had 275s in the front, 315s in the rear, like the ZR1 of previous generations. They didn't make a ZR1 for 96. 95 was the last year. So basically, a few reasons why these LT4s are special. 92 to 96, they made about 98,000 LT1 Corvettes total. Manual or automatic, hardtop or convertible, all included. It's about 98,000. I didn't do the fine math, but that's about where it comes up. So ZR1s from 90 to 95, they made 6,939. But they only made 6,359 of the LT4s total. So, you know, I mean, rarity and value don't always go hand in hand, but it's crazy to think that this is actually rarer to find than a ZR1. Really special cars, especially this one being a Z51. The handling is insane. The grip in the corners is nuts. And my other car, you might be able to see it in the background there, and like I said, there's another video. That car's on full coilover suspension. That car's a track car. And I'm not joking that this thing, with the factory Z51 and nice Bilstein shocks, actually outhandles that car. I think a lot of it's the tires, 275s in all four corners. The polo green, it's a gorgeous color. It's hard to capture how gorgeous it is on camera, but it is deep, it is metallic, it is an absolutely beautiful color. Absolutely beautiful, really understated on a car with this kind of performance. You know, an LT1 car, 0 to 60, you know, the manual, I mean, low fives, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5. These were closer to 4.9. Top speed isn't a whole lot more than LT1. I've seen those quoted at 160 to 165. These were good for about 168. This car has a factory rear gear of 345. It's got the correct ZF 6-speed in it. Like I said, all stock, cruises nice. Fifth gear is pretty much all you're going to use unless you're on the highway. Like I said, I mean, geez, it's 0.5 to 1 overdrive on that 6th gear. So this car, like my collector's edition, you'll see the keys sitting on the roof there. Reason being, this is a factory perimeter alarm. As you approach the car, it unlocks automatically. And as you walk away, it locks automatically. So whenever I'm playing with it, I just sit them on the roof to prevent myself from accidentally locking them in the car or whatever, or having it constantly lock and unlock. So this specific car, it's going to need tires. The tires don't have plenty of tread, but as a lot of you Corvette guys know, age is the factor that you really got to look at. And these, like I said, gorgeous tires, G-force TAs, you know, and the cellar heat, kind of ignorant to it. But he's got a date code of the 21st week of 2007, so about 14 years old as we're sitting today. They need to be replaced by age. And you can just see how beautiful these wheels are. It's a shame the weights are on here, but with some good care, those can be taken off, and this thing can be static balanced, sticky weights. It's going to be gorgeous to see it without the weights. The weights take away a little bit for me, but again, you can see these wheels are just perfect. Underside of this car is immaculate. Just a spectacular specimen. So a couple flaws that it does have. These little tabs here, they're faded. And I don't know if they can be removed and painted or just replaced, but they are faded white. Odd because the car was kept indoors, but faded white. Another flaw with this top that's on it right now, this is like a bronze colored top. Got a few cracks here. And those are not just superficial. They're actually through the top, unfortunately. I do have a blue Astro top to go with this car. If I do sell it, it'll happen eventually. And I'll probably sell it with that blue top, just so someone's got, you know, something nice. Either that or maybe I'll have it redone by then. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop the door open. We can take a look at this interior again. It's a base seat car. This does not have the optional sport seats like my collector's edition, which is great because yeah, I lose the adjustable bolsters, but I gain a much more, in my opinion, a much more handsome seat. These just have a more traditional look. I prefer them. I think they're more comfortable. I think the shape of them contours to my body. The way you've got this dip here, it's just a nicer seating surface. Now, my seat cushions in my other car are a bit worn. Some say, man, you replace that seat foam with those sport seats in your other car, it's going to be great, but I prefer the way these look anyway. Now, as you can see, this saddle interior, whatever you'd like to call it, perfectly fitting to this polo green. This interior is gorgeous on this car. There is some wear. I have conditioned the leather, very soft to the touch, feels really good. Slight bit of wear on the bolster, really common at the entry and exit point here. You know, it is still a 25-year-old car. This interior in this car is gorgeous. I mean, I haven't even really vacuumed the car. We've put a little bit of mileage on it, and geez, it just shows so good. So, hopping into the car, a few of the LT4 specific items for those of you who aren't super familiar. What you'll see inside, standard Corvette stuff. you'll notice the tachometer, and you'll say, wait a minute, LT1 cars go to 6. Yep, that's one of the difference for the LT4. You get the 8,000 RPM tach, just like the ZR1. And that is because these cars have a fuel cutoff of 6,300 RPM versus 5,800 in the LT1 car. So that additional RPM, they wanted it on the tach. This thing at fuel cutoff would be burying the 6,000 RPM tach of an LT1. So you got the 8,000 RPM unit, which is cool. It's a cool look. I think someday it'll be a neat piece to see. It'll kind of set these aside from the other cars. Again, being that there's about 98,000 LT1 cars produced and just 3,350 of these base Corvette LT4 cars. So what I'm going to do is show you some of their stuff here. Again, you know, I haven't cleaned this stuff out, but it's all perfect. The lighters in the center console here, as well as the original ashtray unused. Service manual. I do not have the window sticker. Oh, I say service manual. Owner's manual. Seat adjustments, everything works. All the electronics work in the car. Cruise control works. AC blows cold. So I think what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and fire it up, and then we're going to pop the hood and take a look under there. Let's go ahead and give her a start. The car runs spectacular. It has a stock exhaust. I mean, this thing is a luxury touring car with just so much more power than the other C4s. To back it up, this car is quiet and comfortable. Like I said, the stock exhaust has a slight rumble, but really this thing is a touring car. This thing is comfortable, it's smooth, and it's quiet. See everything here. Go ahead and fire it up. Okay. You'll see the lights coming off here, except for the brake light, which you'll see right here. Parking light. We've got our door ajar, our seatbelt light. No warnings over here. Got our factory stereo. We got it on here, but let's see. Lovely commercial, but it does work. I have not checked the CD player of the cassette. I really don't own many CDs and cassettes anymore. AC again. Put it on auto. Just turn that temp down. I don't know if you can hear the fan ramping up. It ramps up nice, and it starts kicking out nice, cool air. Just beautiful. You know, again, that's the beauty of a car that's had a long ownership history. Things get taken care of because this man had the means to buy this car when it was 1 year old. You know, a guy like me, secondhand. I mean, this car, I don't know what it'll go for when I sell it. I mean, the value I peg in my head is, you know, $15,500. But when I do sell it, it'll be at no reserve, so it'll be whatever it goes for. But you know, it's an affordable car for me. But when this car was new, this was the equivalent of $70,000 in 1996. You know, it was a $40,000 car, and if you do an inflation calculator, yeah, it's about $70,000. So go ahead and pop the hood, take a look, kind of show you the beauty of this engine here. Love the LT4. I love the look of the red intake. The red Corvette covers everything. It just ties together so nicely. The engine runs fantastic. No issues at all. Again, stock under here, except for the SLP intake. Tripod filters, rewashable. You can use a K&N filter kit for those, and they're reusable. Me personally, if I keep the car, I'm going to put a stock airbox on it. Someone believed it, you know, that those advertise a 20 horsepower game. There's no way. I mean, maybe on the most built engine in the world, but I don't think so. The stock intake on these, if modified and opened up, it's not very restrictive. That's my opinion. Battery on the car is a few years old. It was replaced in 2015, so it's 6 years old. Still starts strong, but if it was me, if I keep the car for a duration of time, I will be replacing it. You can just see, you know, stock manifolds, just furs. And out back, again, you can hear how wonderfully quiet it is. Just a little rumble, man. I mean, this is exactly how GM intended. Just a little rumble. Beautiful. think. There's a few other items in the back of the car I can show you. Pretty neat stuff came with the car. Okay, go on this other side here. I don't like to slam them too hard, so I find myself often shorting it. There we go. Go ahead and open up this hatch and I'll show you some of the interesting stuff that came with the car and will go with the car when it's sold. I'm going to go ahead and just open the hatch here. See, it comes right up. Back here, nice plastics back here. And the sunshade works well, just as it's supposed to. So, neat stuff that came with the car. First, die-cast model of a 96 Corvette. Super cool, same colors, neat to have. Produced in the 90s. I actually used to collect die-cast. I've got the ZR1 version of this car, but kind of neat. K&N recharger kit for the pod filters. An original brochure in the brochure bag for a 96 Corvette. You can see I had the Grand Sport on there. Kind of a neat thing. Came with the car when you got it. And you'll also see this really old school Hypertech power programmer. Now, this does offer custom, well, not custom, off-the-shelf tunes for this car to give it more power. It probably advances the spark curve a little. I doubt it does much. The reason why this is with the car is this car has a 160 degree or a 165, it might even be a 180. It's a colder thermostat than stock. As a lot of you know, the C4s tend to run warm, and that's okay. They were engineered to. The fans kick on in the 239 degree range, I think, for the second fan, maybe 236. Original owner just didn't like it, old school guy. So he bought that in conjunction with a colder thermostat, and you can program the fan kick on and off points and cater those to your liking, which is kind of cool, I guess. I mean, even though they're engineered to run where they run, it always feels good with them running cooler like most other cars. Again, you can see on this side, the interior in this car, so there's a little piece of something there, but real nice, you know. The floor mats are in good condition. There is a little bit of discoloration on this one, just from being used. You know, the car's always been driven. It's not sat. It's had miles put on it, but not a lot. Again, it's a 65,000 mile car. Set of Lloyd's mats would fix that, and you could call this interior, I mean, you could call this interior immaculate. I really think it's safe to say there's no lying there. So I guess that's the car. Like I said, 96 on a 3350 LT4 car is one of 1,869 Z51 cars total, not including the LT4 breakdown. I would assume most of the people who opted for the LT4 or the Z51 package probably opted for the LT4 because they had performance in mind. But I don't know, I wish I knew the breakdown. And you know, polo green, not a super popular color in 96. Red, white, black, a lot more popular. I think they made, I don't know, 2,600 or so maybe total, maybe, give or take. Can't remember. It's all on the internet if you want to look it up. But real special car. Just making this video now. It's a beautiful day. If this thing does ever go up on eBay, I'll have the video. You guys can kind of see, you know, the condition of the vehicle. Total transparency, you know, it's even the mufflers, they're just, you know, it's clean. It's so clean underneath. And I know we're out here in the yard, so you can't really see great, but the lines, everything under the car is gorgeous. And, you know, transparency. I know this video is long here. If you've watched the whole thing, you might have forgot the top is cracked. I'm sure it'll be discussed at some point in the auction if it does hit eBay. If I include the blue Astro top, or I make a concession on price due to this top, or maybe this top's been fixed by then, not sure. But gorgeous car, and I guess obligatory C4. Should probably show you that the lights work, and they do. But operate perfectly. You know, that's just the thing. You got to check on that. That's a C4 thing. But appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. You know, I really love these cars. C4, massively underrated in general. The LT4, a lot of people aren't even aware of them. And They're a phenomenal performing car. This chassis, you know, 0.95 Gs. With this engine, all the power, like I said, my other car, long tube headers, custom PCM tuning, and 410 gears. In that car, I'm not a great driver. My last run was my best. I ran a 13.1 at 109.03. I missed third gear. I'll be going back October 1st, and I'm thinking about a 1280, 109.3. That gives these cars enough to run with any stock LS C5. I mean, they're not doing much over 109. I've seen them trap 105, 106, 107. Maybe on their best day, a fixed roof coupe, you know, might see 109. But, and of course, you know, there's room to warm them up. I'm talking stock for stock. These are an amazing car. I think they're gaining appreciation, as they should. You know, I grew up with these. These were a poster car to me. You didn't see these. I lived in a small town. You know, seeing a new Corvette, you saw Tempos, you saw Tauruses, Chevy Celebrities, Lumina Euros. That's what everybody had. Fantastic cars, massively underrated. And I think, you know, I don't know if the values on these will ever skyrocket, but I think people that want to have an enthusiast car for the money, I think soon they're going to realize, wow, we've been sleeping on these a long time. And bang for your buck, you know, you're shopping Boxsters, Z3s, Miatas, a lot of fun cars in that range. Those are all great cars, but I think you put them toe to toe with this, and the handling, straight line performance areas, this is going to win. Might not have the fit and finish of a German car, or a lot of other exotic cars, semi-exotic cars I should say, in that price range, but this thing's going to outperform it in every way. You know, it's just a fantastic car. And I don't mean outperform it just in numbers. I mean in fun. Going through the curves in this thing. Got some curvy roads out here by the country club at Lake Doster here in Michigan. And wow, this thing is, it's definitely punching out of its weight class in terms of dollars. All day long, you know. And a clean one like this, like I said, it's a touring car. You can take this thing anywhere. It is comfortable. It is smooth. It is silky. They really got it right by 96. But again, I could rant about it all day. I think the world of C4s. Appreciate you watching the video, and if this car is for sale, at the time you're watching this, feel free to contact me. Any questions, clarification, any items I can address and show you that you might have questions about, feel free to reach out. I'll do anything I can to help, and we'll see. And if anybody has any questions, you know, feel free to put them right here in YouTube. Any comments or suggestions in any regard, anything you'd prefer to see rather than what I've shown here today. All right, thanks everybody, or anybody. Have a great day.